Hello, I'm Tim Shepherd, and this video provides a brief overview of the measures that we've put in place with MyPAYE to help users handle the HMRC COVID-19 Job Retention Scheme, otherwise known as furloughing employees, and submitting claims against that scheme. When furloughing was first announced back in early March, we immediately added an additional pay type to the MyPAYE, the COVID-19 furlough pay, so that employees could have their pay identified as to what was furlough pay and what was normal pay. Now that the HMRC portal has opened and you can make claims, we've also added an additional wizard that will do much of the calculation work for you. The Tools menu, click on the COVID-19 JRS Claim Wizard. The first thing it asks you is which payrolls do you want to include. If you've only got one payroll, then it will skip this step. I've got two payrolls on this company, and I can decide whether I want to exclude one of them. For example, if it's purely for directors who aren't being furloughed, I'm going to include both payrolls. The system then asks me which employees I want to include in my claim, in other words, which employees are being furloughed. The system automatically detects the COVID-19 furlough pay item, and if employees have had payments against that pay item, then they will automatically be included in the wizard. Will Smith is a new employee, hasn't therefore been paid yet, and unfortunately he's going to be furloughed immediately, but I need to include him in the calculation, so I'll tick the box, click next. It then asks me which approach I want to use for calculating. The HMRC guidance, which only was issued on Thursday the 16th of April, so it has been rather hectic trying to put this wizard together, identified two approaches. One, approach A, is more complicated and is suitable for employees with variable pay. Approach B is designed for employees who are paid a constant amount each month or each week, and that's the one we've implemented today. Approach A should be available in the next day or so. So I'm going to use approach B. It then asks me what dates I'm going to make my claim for. I'm going to use the 15th of March to the 15th of April. And it also asks me what dates my employees have been furloughed from. They were furloughed from the 15th, and I don't know when they're coming back, so I'll leave the furlough end date blank. It helps if I put the right dates in. It then picks up the employees, looks at any payments that have been made against them. So all my weekly paid employees have had payments in the relevant period. The HMRC requirements are that you take the last pay date prior to the 19th of March. In this case, all of my weekly employees were paid on the 16th of March. Mr. Smith hasn't yet been paid, so I need to manually enter his reference pay. I also need to tell the system how many days are in that pay period. Because I'm using March as my reference, there will be 31 days. And I'm going to assume that all my employees are going to be furloughed initially in my claim for 31 days. So I will enter that, and as I enter the days, the system is automatically calculating the furlough pay appropriate based on their reference pay, reference period, and the days I furloughed them. And it also looks at how much furlough pay I have paid to date and deducts that from the total amounts. The system gives you a lot of information about the basis on which the calculations are made. If you have any queries about it, feel free to use the support centre. Just raise a support call and the team will help you with your questions. Please be aware that the scheme that HMRC has defined is not very well documented. Also, we are struggling to get clarification on points from HMRC. Their response times are exceedingly long at the moment, so bear with us if we're not always able to give you full information. We will do everything possible in our power to help you. So, having worked out what their furlough pay is, click next, and the system then looks at the national insurance and, where appropriate, employer pension contributions that I would have to make. Because I'm on this employer, we have they're registered for employment allowance. The employment allowance already offsets the employer NIC, so there isn't any employer NIC to actually claim, but it's now worked out what my total claim is. And at this point it will do a number of things. The portal that you have to use to enter the data, because HMRC hasn't provided any online submission process, only allows you to import a file with your employee data if you have at least 100 employees to enter. All other employers have to enter the employee's name, national insurance number and works number manually. I have to confess it's a total ball's ache, if you'll pardon the expression, but that's what HMRC has done and there is nothing we can do about it. So for less than 100 employees, when I click next, it will open a report showing me the information I will need to enter in the HMRC portal. If I'd got more than 100 employees, it would allow me to download a file. It has also told me where to go make my claim, and I now need to go to the HMRC portal and enter that claim. As we said, we've made a number of assumptions on this early version of the wizard. We only had 4 days in which to build it, which was somewhat short, I have to say. We are working on the extension of the wizard to cover approach A, and there will be other improvements to the process. Once you've made your claim, because I've now created the report, the other thing that the system does is it writes the details of that to our database, and I can go back at any time and have a look at the claims that I've made with all the details that were worked out. So you don't need to keep a separate copy, and all the claims that are being submitted now will have had that data recorded. Thank you for watching this brief introduction. Sorry it's a little bit rough in terms of its preparation, but time has been very much of the essence in trying to support our users, and we hope that everybody keeps safe, works from home as per the guidance, and if you have any further questions, please feel free to use the support centre and raise them through the support system. Thank you for listening.